It is Y105, Dubuque's #1 hit music station. I'm Steve Pulaski, and my next guest was likely the star of some of your favorite childhood movies, regardless of what generation you belong to. He was unforgettable as Pony Boy in The Outsiders. He paired perfectly with Patrick Swayze and Charlie Sheen in Red Dawn, and also appeared in E.T., The Amazing Spider-Man, and dozens of other great films. Now he's a singer. He released his debut album, American Storyteller, last year, and is part of the soundtrack for an upcoming movie in which he stars called Ride. He is C. Thomas Howell. Tommy, how are you?
Steve, thanks a lot for having me this morning. I'm doing great.
It is so good to talk to you, Tommy. First things first, got a new movie coming out. It is called Ride. What is Ride all about?
So Ride is based on 3 generations of bull riders that have come together to try to raise some money for one of the sick members of the family. It's a rural story based on sort of old morals, and it's kind of set around the cowboy way. And a gentleman named Jake Allen wrote this piece. Forey J. Smith, one of the stars of Yellowstone, plays my father. I play Jake's father, and the 3 of us just had a great time doing this. Annabeth Gish plays my wife, and Ride will be coming out this summer.
Exciting stuff. This movie was set in Stephenville, Texas. Where was the film shot, Tommy?
We shot it in and around the outskirts of Nashville. Stephenville is the hub for a lot of rodeo cowboys. A lot of world champions live there. And we got some local help from a company called Lone Star that puts on rodeos up in Nashville. And we went to a couple of rodeos to shoot this and shot it in a bunch of ranches in and around Nashville.
You've got a song, it's actually the titular song in the movie, called Ride. What came first, the request to be in the movie or the request for you to write a song for it?
It's funny, it was just one of those things that was meant to be. I actually picked up a guitar right around when COVID hit and started to learn how to pluck a few chords. My father got COVID, and he's a very well-known stuntman back in his day, and he also rode bulls for 10 years for a living. And, you know, he stared death in the eye for most of his life and came out on top. And, of course, when COVID hit, we thought he would do the same thing. Fortunately, he's okay, but we had about 3 nights where things got real rough, and he had to go to the hospital. And I started thinking about, you know, what it would be to lose my father. And I came up with this song, Ride. And, you know, my house, there's a ton of people. My sister has 5 kids. I've got 4 kids. And there's just, you know, way too many cousins and aunts and uncles for us to buy presents for everybody when it's Christmas time. So we draw a name out of the hat, and you get who you get, and you switch presents with that person. And of course, this time about 3 years ago, I drew my father, and he buys me a box of golf balls that say Pony Boy on it, even though I don't even play golf anymore. And I get those every year, pretty much no matter what. And well, I was pretty much known for not singing songs and playing the guitar. And I wrote Ride for my father, and for Christmas, I sat in front of a family member audience and sang this song to them for the first time. And when it was finished, nobody said a dang word, and I thought, well, I guess I won't be doing this anymore. And my brother-in-law, Jimmy, he stood up and said, well, damn, that was better than I thought it would be. Who wants a beer? And I wasn't about... I guess a year and a half later, I was approached by the producers, Jake Allen and his brother, who Connor Allen is his producing partner, and I read the script, Ride, and they wanted me to play the lead. And I said, you know, I just so happen to have a song that's called Ride, and it wasn't recorded yet. And I said, but I had played it live, and I sent them some video footage of a live performance, and they fell in love with it. So they actually worked it into the film. It's a part of the movie. It's kind of used as in a strange way. I sing it to my daughter in the hospital on an acoustic guitar, and then it's used again in a vehicle while some people are going down the road. Some kids are singing it as well. It's kind of a family song. And then I went and recorded it at the Cash Cabin where Johnny Cash did all of his stuff, and had a great time with John Carter Cash and his son, and a gentleman named Sweepy Walker, who plays the harmonica in my band full time, produced the song for me. And we recorded it, and it came out great. And we used this little girl named Zia Carlock, whose father is the great drummer for Steely Dan, Keith Carlock.
Oh, wow.
Keith came in, played the drums for me on the track. And Zia, his daughter, and who plays my daughter in the movie, sang with me on the song that we decided to cut. So we just made it a family affair. And I'm real proud of the song, and we're releasing it nationwide here in just a couple more weeks.
Some great backstory, a little behind-the-scenes flavor of how the movie Ride and the song Ride came to be. He's C. Thomas Howell, again, the star of that movie. I got my girlfriend, Catherine, here with me, Tommy, and she's a diehard Outsiders fan. I know she's got a couple of great questions for you.
Good morning, Catherine.
Morning, how are you?
Well, we got to love the Outsiders fan. Boy, I tell you, that book and film has lived in perpetuity and just keeps on ticking.
Yeah, it really has. What was your favorite scene to shoot during The Outsiders?
You know, I get asked that a lot. I don't know if I have a particular favorite scene to shoot, but I will say, you know, the friendships that I made during that production have lasted a lifetime. I'm close with Ralph Macchio and speak to him all the time. Anytime I see Rob Lowe, it's big hugs. Of course, I went on to do 3 pictures with Patrick Swayze. He became like a real brother to me. A little fun fact regarding my relationship with Patrick. My father, as I said before, was a stunt coordinator, and he was a stunt coordinator on a movie called Urban Cowboy, I think back in 78. Well, Patrick's mama, Patsy Swayze, was the dance choreographer on that film. So I spent a summer in Houston running around with Patrick Swayze when I was about 11 or 12 years old, 2 or 3 years before we ever knew we'd be working together on this series of 3 pictures, including Red Dawn and Grandview, USA. So I had known Patrick well before we started The Outsiders, and it wasn't difficult at all feeling like a brother to him. And he was just a great man, and I'd have to say a lot of great friendships were formed and bonded on the set of The Outsiders.
Did Patrick Swayze teach you any of the fighting scenes before the Rumble?
You know, I worked with a stunt coordinator, a great stunt coordinator by the name of Buddy Joe Hooker. And as I said, my father was a stunt man as well. And I thought when I was younger, I'd follow in the steps of my father and become a stunt man. That's sort of how I got into the business. So I had trained well with a good group of stunt people to choreograph an extensive fight sequence for the Rumble, and Pony Boy was throwing punches and kicks and fighting right along with everybody else. But on the first day of filming that scene, we showed up and it was pouring rain, and we thought, well, this is going to be fun. And the first punch is thrown by a gentleman named Reed Rondell, and he was a famous stunt man back in the day. Came from a family of stunt people called the Rondells, and he slipped in the mud and caught me right in the chin, and down I went while everybody was swinging punches and kicking and fighting. And the director said, cut. And I got up, rubbing my chin a little bit, and walked over and said, I need to do that again. I didn't get to do anything. I got clocked right in the chin and fell down. And he looked at me and said, it looked great, and that's what ends up staying in the movie. Next thing you know, Matt Dillon's dragging me out of the mud puddle, and I didn't get to throw one dang punch. So we played it for real, and that's what stayed in the movie.
So I take it that was your least favorite scene to remember.
You know, I'd say my least favorite scene was the drowning sequence in the fountain, and not because of the water, but just because it was so dang cold. It was probably about 38 degrees out, and we shot that scene for 3 nights, and it was so dang cold. And, you know, we had to be acting like we were warm and that we weren't cold, and we had Leif Garrett on the ground afterwards, and Ralph and I, we were trying to to do our scene, and Leif's supposed to be dead, and he's on the cold, wet cement shivering, and we have to start over because he was moving too much, and it was rough. But, that comes with the territory. Everybody thinks making movies is all about sunglasses and lemonade. I tell everybody it's hardcore blue-collar work. You're on your feet 17 hours a day, and whatever it is you're doing, the concentration level is high. It's extremely physical, and I'm exhausted every day after a good day's work. So, it's not quite everybody sees the final piece of how it's all put together, but it's a lot of work getting to that. It's a lot of hard work getting to that place. So, I have a lot of respect for filmmakers, and whenever you see a good film, it's nearly a miracle because it's not easy.
Yes, speaking of blue-collar work, so The Outsider's house has been being restored. I think it is officially done, as well as like other locations that were shot in the movie and other S.E. Hinton movies. What was it like when you first walked into The Outsider's house after it had been restored?
Well, Danny Boy O'Connor from House of Pain fame purchased the house when it was condemned and about to be torn down, and he had the foresight to see it as a desired destination for many generations to come. They renovated it and turned it into a virtual Outsiders museum, and they hold all kinds of props and wardrobe and different books from around the world, and I'd say The Outsiders has been printed in probably 30 different languages, and they have a beautiful merchandise warehouse in the back, and they have screenings on the lawn there of the film every once in a while, field trips with busloads of kids every year swing by there, and they've just done an incredible job. It's so nostalgic. Whenever I go there, just a rush of memories come back. The same chain link fence where Tom Cruise backflipped off of is there, and the front porch with all the original chairs, and people just love to come, and it's been such an amazing, I didn't realize it would have the impact on so many people that it has had, but it's turned into a really special place, and I love going. I try to get by there once a year at least.
I've been there several times, and I thought it was interesting that they couldn't find the wallpaper to match the house that it originally had, and they had to get like artists in there, and they stenciled in the wallpaper even. Like, it's super detailed. What's your favorite restoration in the house?
I love watching people's, especially young girls' reactions when they walk by the bathroom and they see the original green towel that was covering up or barely covering up the amazing Rob Lowe when Soda Pop climbed out of the shower. That's always a lot of fun. And, they have a plastic chocolate cake and a beer bottle there, and everybody sits on the floor and has a two-bit moment with that chocolate cake and that bottle of beer. I just really love everything about it, to be honest with you. The locals have really pitched in to help out. So many people have given their time, electricians and plumbers and roofers, and so many people have come and shared time and money to maintain that place, and it just goes to show the community of Tulsa and the support that they've given S.E. Hinton and her work over the years, and it really means a lot to a lot of people.
Are there any other locations from the movie that you'd like to see be restored?
Well, they restored the DX gas station, and a lot of the places are gone for good. So, sort of that. There was like a Frosty Freeze that we went to. I don't think exists anymore. But the park is still there, and all the train tracks are there, and Circle Cinema is still there where I walked out of the theater in the beginning of the movie, and the field and the Rumble and Johnny's house is still there. So, I walk through the neighborhood, and it's an amazing place to see and be a part of. And, of course, the famous drive-in theater, the Admiral Twin, burnt to the ground a few years back. And just like the Outsider's house, the community rallied around, held fundraisers, and rebuilt the Admiral Twin exactly how it was originally. and that's still active. So we still have the Admiral Twin, and most of the locations around Tulsa can be found, but some of them are gone, and that's just part of the evolution of life, and it's pretty amazing that this group of people would show so much interest in these locations and restoring them and putting their time, effort, and money into restoring them. Even like you said, outside of just the museum itself, people have really gone out of their way to recreate what we had created over 40 years ago.
So many great insights right there about The Outsiders. Again, he is C. Thomas Howell. Couple more quick questions with you, Tommy. I have to bring this one up because I think it's a criminally misunderstood movie. Might be the most divisive movie in terms of just response in your catalog. We got to talk about Soul Man, though. Again, I think it's a really misunderstood movie to its core. Have your thoughts on it changed in recent time? Have your thoughts maybe evolved on it? Or I guess where does it sit in your mind right now, the movie Soul Man?
Well, Soul Man is an enigma, really, because when we did it, this is how much times have changed. So when we did it, we were making a movie that was a comedy with an anti-racism message built into it. It's kind of a deep movie. You can't even find it anymore. But it's about a white kid from a rich family that was cut off, and in order to get into Harvard University, the only way he could go is by accepting a scholarship as a black person. And so he has a friend that works in the science department at school, and they work up some ridiculous like melatonin tablets that he takes, and it darkens his skin, and he goes to school and realizes and basically lives all the stereotypes and the hardships of what the black community had gone through. And at the end of it, he sits down with the great James Earl Jones, who explains, well, now you know what it's like to be black. And he says, no, that's not true. I was always able to be white, and I'll never know. And it's a deep film, really. But back then, the movie cost $3 million and made over $60 million and was a success. And today, we are living in another time. So whenever you take it out of context and you see a white person in blackface, normally they are mocking the black community. And I'm the first one to say that is horrible. And, we've seen a lot of that over the years in the entertainment business. But to bulk the message of Soul Man in with that is wrong, because we honestly were taking a risk when it wasn't a trendy thing to support the black community, and we were trying to raise awareness with our message, and to be bulked into that sort of mocking category is, in my opinion, wrong. So the only people that I ever hear any negativity from regarding Soul Man, it's never the black community. It's always these sort of little 13-year-old girls that have seen an 8x10 online, and they'll hit me up and ask me why I did this and do I feel bad for it. The only thing I'll say about it is, if anybody was offended by Soul Man, of course I would apologize to them immediately, because that wasn't our intention. Our intention was to raise awareness and put a spotlight on some stereotypes and on some on a very difficult subject. And in the meantime, I think it's come a long way. I think we've come a long way in our social communities, but racism is still very prevalent, and it's a difficult subject to discuss, but I think it needs to be discussed. And I think, we've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. And I don't, Soul Man isn't something that I feel personally. Well, first of all, you can't see it anymore. They pretty much buried the movie. But it's my son's favorite movie that I've done. it's an interesting take from the mid '80s and where we were socially on the stereotypes of racism, and I think was an important message to some degree. But could it be made again today? Of course not. Of course not. We wouldn't attempt that. But I think we did something with good intentions, and we told a story that was difficult to tell in a comical, honest way. And whenever you start crossing the line when it comes to art on any level, and you start censoring anybody's expression in this country of America that we live in, that I disagree more with than I do with anything else. I think we live in a place where you should be able to express yourself, be it good or be it bad. And that's what social media is for. And, if you hop on TikTok or Instagram, you're not going to agree with everything. Well, same thing goes with making films, making music, whether it's a Jason Aldean song that people are saying is inappropriate and racist, which I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that a lot of hype came off that song that he put out, that song called Try It in a Small Town. It's just, I think people focus on the wrong thing, and it's a tough time, when we're in this sort of social media generation, and a lot of social media is misunderstood, and I think a lot of expression is misunderstood, whatever the art form is. But I don't think we can condemn it. I don't think we can censor people's voices in any way, shape, or form just because a certain person or a certain body disagrees with it. So that's really the message there when it comes to Soul Man. Not whether it's offensive to blacks or whites, or whether it's racist or not. It's an expression of art, and it's just a movie, for God's sakes. Things get blown out of proportion, and I think censorship is a bigger crime than anything.
Excellent stuff right there, Tommy. He is C. Thomas Howell. I want to give you the final word, Tommy, to touch on your music. You got an album that's available wherever you stream music. It's called American Storyteller. It is well worth listening to. My personal favorite song on it being Hell of a Ride. I have to say, tip of the cap for that one for sure. Feel free to talk about anything about your music. Where can people find it? What you're working on? I'm going to give you the final word. The floor is yours.
Well, I appreciate it, Steve. Thank you so much for having me on this morning. And American Storyteller is available on all platforms, whether it's Spotify or iTunes, wherever you get your music. You can check out TommyHowellMusic.com. See our tour date. We got about 30 dates on our calendar this year. Some of them are full band, some of them are acoustic sets, and some of them are screenings of The Outsiders or Red Dawn and The Hitcher. We come and we do screenings of those three films, and we have Q&As and meet and greets. And I tell you what, we've had great success with that. We sell out pretty much every time we have a screening. And again, you can come check us out at TommyHowellMusic.com, and hopefully we'll be in your town soon and somewhere up there, and then you guys can come by.
TommyHowellMusic.com, the great C. Thomas Howell. I want to thank you for your time today, Tommy. We greatly appreciate it. Keep doing what you're doing, man. You're an excellent artist. You're an excellent actor, and I cannot wait to see what's next for you, brother.
Thank you both so much, and I look forward to the next time we talk, my friend.
This was the coolest thing ever. Thank you so much.
You guys have a great day.